chapter 4, IGCSE Environmental Management. So in this video, we are going to cover water quality and availability. Now, please, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please click the subscribe icon below. So quickly, we'll be looking at this syllabus content 4.5, and it has to do with water quality and availability. And we are going to compare the availability of safe drinking water, that's potable water, in different parts of the world. And we'll look at the difference between water-rich countries and water-poor regions, and we'll look at potential for water conflict. Then we'll look at access to safe drinking water in both urban and rural areas. Now, without wasting so much time, what is a potable water? So you find out that drinking water is also called potable water, and is water that is safe to drink or to use for food preparation. So any form of water, usually these are fresh water that are safe to drink, and you can actually use it in preparing your food, referred to as potable water. Now, there are countries that are water-rich countries, and there are countries that are water-poor countries. So you see, water-rich countries are countries with plentiful freshwater supplies. That means the amount of fresh water in these countries are actually in large quantities. It is readily available and for the people to use. So countries like this are referred to as water-rich countries. Now, while water-poor countries are countries that have scarce freshwater supplies, and usually they are dominated by major rivers. Now we have a world map that shows the distribution of water and water scarcity within different localities. Now, there are countries that have high potential of water. That means there are water-rich countries. However, there is scarcity of water in such countries, and that can actually be as a result of economic scarcity, whereby the infrastructure that is needed to supply and purify this water for the local people to use for both domestic, industrial, and agricultural uses is not readily available. So you find that countries that have physical water scarcity are majorly around the desert environment where there is water scarcity. Now, physical water scarcity are majorly countries with poor water supply. Then countries with rich water supply, you find that is majorly more distributed, and you find that there are more on the developed economy. But developing economy like Africa, you find that despite majority of the continent have a water-rich region, but however, due to economic reasons, they are also still struggling in order to supply water for the masses. So you find out that what is water conflict? Now, water conflict are conflict between countries, state, or group over an access to water resources. So when there is conflict between a state or group of people over an access to water resources, then we term that as water conflict. Now, there is physical water scarcity when there is not enough water to meet the human demands and those of the ecosystem to function effectively is physical water scarcity. When there is not enough water to meet both human demands and those of the ecosystem to function effectively. So you find that arid regions, which are dry environment that have low amount of rainfall, that these areas have physical water scarcity. So arid environment frequently suffer from physical water scarcity. It also occurs when water seem abundant but resources are over committed. Now, when you have economic water scarcity, is caused by lack of investment in water infrastructure, or insufficient human capacity to satisfy the demand of water in areas where the population cannot afford to use an adequate source of water. But majorly is due to lack of investment in water infrastructure will lead to economic water scarcity. So quickly, water access. We just finished water conflict, so water access. Now, unlike rural areas, urban areas have higher access to safe drinking water than rural areas. Remember, rural areas has to do with your villages, while urban areas have to do with towns and cities. So the reason now is, why is it that there are more access to water in urban areas than there is to rural areas? Now, some of the major reason is cities are more wealthy places with factories and offices. So the infrastructure for water supply is readily available. Then on average, people income are actually higher in urban areas. So you find out that they can actually construct their own personal boreholes, dig their personal wells in order to have access to water without even waiting for the government. Then you have easier to put pressure on politicians or leaders to make improvement in water supply. It's more easy in the city than at the villages. Now, wealthy people are more likely to live in cities, so they have the financial capability to invest in water infrastructure. Now, water pipes are easier and cheaper to build when a lot of people live close together. So you find that in urban areas, there are planned settlement, clustered settlement. So as a result of people being close together within and the environment, is quite easy for water pipes to be connected to their individual houses. Now, I think with this, we've been able to finish the aspect that we are looking at. So let's just look at this. So we've been able to describe between water-rich and water-poor regions and the potential for water conflict. We've been able to describe the access to safe drinking water in urban and rural areas. So there is more access to safe drinking water in urban areas than in rural areas, and we gave the examples and reasons why. And so that's it about this part. So in the next video I'm going to upload, we'll be looking at 4.6, which is multipurpose dam project. So thank you.